Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Camella, and I want to take this time to go over the Providence School Department Orientation Day Checklist. This is information that all employees must know and understand all of the procedures and protocols that the Providence School Department has. Um, it's something that I want to do in this way this year so that we can honor your time at orientation and maximize our time together during orientation. So by doing it this way, we hope to get some minutes back and you know um, actually review in a more in-depth way than we normally would. On orientation day, we will have 3 sessions that everyone will attend. During my session, I will cover a couple of these in depth and also take questions on anything you may have that you watched during this presentation. So let's begin. The first one is the Child Abuse Neglect Protocol, otherwise known as our DCYF reporting protocol. What you must know here is that all employees in the Providence Public School District are mandatory reporters. That means if you witness or become aware of a sexual assault, physical abuse, or neglect of a child, you are a mandatory reporter and you must report to an administrator immediately. That is, report it to myself, to Mr. Presido, or to Mr. Fernandez as soon as you become aware of any type of sexual assault, physical abuse, or neglect of a child. And then we will take the following steps 2, 3, 4, 5 in the protocol, which include notifying DCYF, notifying the Providence Police Department. If the incident involves a staff member, then notifying our Operations and Department of Human Resources. And finally, completing a critical incident report that documents the incident and all of the actions taken. So again, what's most important here about this protocol is that by law, we are all mandatory reporters. Your obligation lies in, if you become aware or witness to a sexual assault, physical abuse, or neglect of a child, reporting it immediately to an administrator in the building. Our next one is the Workplace Violence Protocol. This simply outlines all of the types of workplace violence that can occur. The purpose of this policy is to ensure that we do work in a safe environment. We have rights to work in a safe environment. And so you can see here that there are definitions for all of the types of workplace violence, such as bullying, intimidation, physical attack, property damage, stalking, etc. So please read through those. Our time off regulations. Our time off regulations include all of the different ways that employees can request time off. So you can see them here for all of the different extended leaves that include FMLA, parental, military, different types of sabbatical, personal, and there are other times off such as vacation times, personal times, bereavement, wedding, graduation, sick leave, religious day, field trips, professional development, etc. All time off can be requested through Frontline, through our ASOP system. Simply log in, choose your dates, request the times off. It's all digitally done now. Most of them will come to me for approval or go to Human Resources to be approved. Dismissal procedure. Dismissal procedure simply talks about the ways in which students can be released from school. At the middle school level, students are only released to persons who are on each student's emergency form and who are over the age of 18. Anyone who comes into the school must present a photo ID. Anybody who takes a student with them, again, must be both on their emergency form, over the age of 18, and have shown their evidence on an ID. Our office staff does a good job of ensuring this, and any questions, they always contact an administrator in the event there is a question about any of these. Physical restraint and crisis intervention policy. So there is a link to the video for this, which is approximately 29 minutes long. Please review the video. The purpose here, again, is to ensure that students are free from any unreasonable and unnecessary physical restraint in a crisis intervention. It also talks about some de-escalation strategies, much of which we covered in a professional development back in the late winter, early spring. So it's a good refresher in terms of some de-escalation strategies as well. Our bullying and harassment policy is here. And this policy, again, is a policy about safety to ensure that all of us are free from any type of student or staff bullying. Again, the definition of bullying is outlined below. And also other types of harassment, such as sexual harassment, a hostile environment, sexual harassment, quid pro quo sexual harassment, cyberbullying, which can occur with both adults and students. So please review all of the definitions and the policy around that. Our transgender policy, again, is another policy around safety to ensure that all adults and students who identify under LGBTQ feel supported and safe. Most of us have gone through the training and have signed off that we went through the training. However, if you are new to the district, this is something that will be covered in your new teacher workshops the week of August 26th. There are also webinars here below, which you can watch and then take the questionnaire to show that you have completed the training. Our volunteer policy. This is a policy that covers any adults that come into the building. So all you need to know here really is that any adult who comes into the building has passed a BCI check. They've gone through the procedures. They are cleared to be in the building and to be working with kids, whether it's during the day or after school. Our health-related information, bloodborne pathogens video will be covered by Nurse Julia in one of the early morning sessions. So any information there, Nurse Julia will provide regarding bloodborne pathogens. The next is our Employment Assistance Program, which is a program around anyone who might need counseling. So all of the information is here, a 1-800 phone number, and there's quite more information here about who is eligible for this and how to access it. It's a good program. So anybody who does feel the need that they need some counseling or some help should access this by using one of the phone numbers here. Our emergency procedures. We will be covering our emergency procedures in depth during orientation, including evacuations, fire drills, and other crises that we may incur. So we'll be talking about the use of our red folders, which you will receive during orientation, going over that. But all of that will be covered, once again, at orientation. This is something new, or at least we've been made aware of. It is the Providence School Department Employee Manual, and this manual really covers a lot of what's been talked about above, as well as some items from the contract and a lot of things that are, kind of some common sense items, but things that every employee should know. So you can see by the list there are laws and protections, employment matters, again, some things that we've already covered, professional responsibilities and expectations, student-staff relations, security, discipline, compensation, etc. So items that, again, we're covering now and items that are covered in your contract, but are compiled here for easier access. And we also have our adverse weather policy. So as you know, whenever the school will be called, most of us have alerts on our cell phones by now, but always access your radio stations, television. Many times in the event of a big weather event, school is canceled the previous evening. Sometimes it's not, so we have to be aware that morning of. That's more important this year since we have an earlier start time to make sure that we are aware of school closures in advance. Children in the workplace policy. So this is the policy that outlines adults bringing children to work. What it's basically saying is that um, no children should be in the workplace without the principal knowing in advance and providing knowledge, having knowledge of it, and providing consent. So some of you at the end of last year, for example, had some childcare issues, and I know that we worked together on managing that. It's always important to keep that line of communication open, okay, so that we know who's in the building. And again, this is a one that's a measure of safety. So we want to make sure that, again, knowing who's in the building and always keeping that communication open. And that is it. We have covered it. Again, I will go over a couple of these in a little more in depth during orientation, but please take some time prior to that to review these. And if you and bring your questions so that we are together during my session, you will be able to ask me any questions you have. Thank you, and we'll see you at orientation.